Fans, welcome to another one of our visits with Crusader head coach. Sitting down with baseball head coach Rocke Musgraves. Thanks for joining us today, and obviously an exciting time of year. The defending GNAC champions about to hit the field to start a new season.
Yeah, we're excited, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start off with the obvious question. Right now, snowing outside yet again. You guys haven't had any chance on an actual field. How tough has it been to prepare this spring, not having a field to play on?
It's been a challenge, but we want to make sure that we're not going to, use this as an excuse. This is part of the process. This is maybe part of that process that's going to make us tougher, make us better. We just really have to be careful with those things that steal our energy right now, because we got some great kids in the program, a really good energy. It's a good time to be a Crusader. And we have to, it is what it is.
A couple months ago, exciting time during homecoming, the reunion with all of the alumni from baseball, a great event with baseball barbecue and the alumni game, and then the ceremony at halftime, and then the ring ceremony on top of that. How much excitement is going on in the program right now?
Yeah, it was really a cool weekend to see all those players come back and support that weekend. I think who it helps the most is the incoming transfers and incoming freshmen that we have, to kind of see the legacy, see the past, and some of the players that have played here and how excited they are for the program. And of course, getting to honor Coach Ani was a big thrill for us. And he really deserved that, so we were happy to get to do that. So no, that was, I think, a really positive weekend for our program.
Let's talk about this weekend. Cal State LA. They've been on the field. They've had 3 games, swept Cal Baptist to start the year, a regional tournament team. And looking at their stats, it looks like pitching and defense were the key for them. So how do you match up against the opening opponent?
Yeah, I watched the games, and they played some good defense, had some solid pitching. Of course, the Broussard kid posted most of their offense. I think you really got to be careful with them. I think right now we're playing more trying to get our at-bats, get our timing, rather than worry so much about, their weapons. Right now, we're trying to sharpen our weapons. As our guys say, kind of the motto of this year's team is sharpen the spear. And so I think we're more concerned with our weapons right now and sharpening those, getting those better, rather than, so much on the opponent.
No pressure, but for a lot of the Crusader teams, we know that these first couple of weekends couldn't be the difference between a national tournament bid and not going. Do you even think about that stuff?
You can't help but think about it, but I think we think about it too much. These kids, they've grown up on the internet. They know all that stuff. If anything, I think my job is to get them focused on the game. Sometimes we can't control all that stuff, and sometimes I think that controls you too much. And our guys have 6 principles that they've developed, our core leadership group, and one of them is control the controllables. And so we can't control all that stuff. We can just control our effort and our attitude and how we go out there. And so that's what we're going to try to do this weekend.
Let's talk about the actual guys on the field. Let's start with some of the key losses. Middle infield, Tucker and Tyler didn't get Gold Gloves, but arguably could have been Gold Glove kind of players. How do you replace that dynamic middle infield?
You don't. You just head in a different direction. Each team brings its own set of circumstances, talents, chemistry. Tuck and Tyler, wow, what a great middle they were, and you don't replace them. And I'm just so happy they were in our program. They had such big things for us. This year we have a couple different middle infielders, and now it's their turn to make their mark in this program.
Obviously, you haven't had a chance this spring to see them on the field, but do you have 2 guys that are going to rise to the occasion and provide the kind of defense you need?
Yeah, I think we have 3 guys primarily playing up the middle right now. McCluskey, Cornwell, and Hirsch. They'll probably get the bulk of the innings. and they're all solid defenders, solid with the bat. They've really improved over the course of the last 6 months. So, yeah, now it's their turn.
Obviously, McCluskey had some great play time at the start of the year before the broken thumb, turned a double play when he broke his thumb, and helped out in the championship run. So he's going to be one of the key returners, obviously. Talk about some of the other key guys. A couple of outfielders are back, Helmstadter and Pollock behind the plate. And, who else are we missing that are going to be key position players that are back?
Well, right now we go probably about, I would say, 11 or 12 deep position player-wise, where you know, they're what we call our 11 or 12 starters. And man, there's a whole host of them. You know, the Sheehan kid out of Riverside, California that we brought in, Billy King from Oregon State, Jared Gonzalez from Gonzaga, you know, some kids like that, as well as the returners. You know, I really think that Nielsen and Jones and, you know, Lightfoot and Redford and of course Drew, our catcher, Helmstetter and Pollock, they could all have, you know, great years for us. I'm really looking for big things. If they'll just relax, breathe, and take this thing slowly, I think they'll have terrific years.
Will we see Drew at third and behind the plate? Will it be the same kind of rotation that we've seen in the past?
You know, earlier I mentioned we have 11 or 12 starters, and you know, there's going to be some situations where we may be able to get Drew some more rest, maybe DHing, because we do have so many guys we think we can plug in. You know, Spencer Pollock behind the plate, just a really solid backstop the guys like throwing to. You know, Jared Gonzalez can play third, Kyle Redford can play third. So that may free us up with Drew. We have to be careful that we don't wear out his legs. He is such a, you know, great offensive player for us. We'd like to keep him a little bit fresher. I would say over the last 3 years, well, we have grinded him down pretty far.
And yet it doesn't show, since, I mean, you don't think of your catcher being the guy who has set the school record in triples,
right,
of all things.
Yeah, yeah.
You mentioned some of the newcomers, Jared and Billy King. I hear rumors about Billy King just being an offensive monster. Is he going to set a new home run record?
Oh, that would be really unfair. Billy has changed some things in his swing. We've tried to lift the ball a little bit more. I'm not going to put that on him whatsoever. I think that what you're going to see with him in the early on, he's really going to be looking for his timing, and he's got to be patient, because he's going to catch it. When he catches it, it's going to be fire. But we have to be patient with Billy. He's one of our leaders. He's a great kid. We're just so happy he's in the program, not only for his bat, but just because of the type of person he is.
And then you look at some of the guys other guys that you brought in. You mentioned Hirsch, you mentioned Gonzalez. What kind of players are they, and how will they impact the program?
Oh man, Jared Gonzalez, about 30 years in coaching, I have never, with the exception of maybe a kid named Wesley Gray back at LSU Shreveport, I've never seen anybody work so hard in a batting cage. You know, every morning you can hear his bat in the field house. He's in there hitting, and he's really developing into a nice hitter. The Hirsch kid, I really think highly of as an all-around type player. And, you know, he's one of those freshmen that plays above a freshman. I don't think he knows he's a freshman. He's got pop in the bat. He's a nice defensive player. You know, he's going to see some time out there this year. So, yeah, 11 or 12 go-to guys out there in the position players.
I don't think anybody's particularly worried about offense. They figure that these guys are going to put up runs. Mm-hmm. Leaves the question mark of pitching. Obviously, Jeremy Jacobs back, could have been drafted, wasn't last year, so that's a huge plus for the program. He definitely is going to be one of those guys, but who else on the hill is going to lead the way?
Well, yeah, Jeremy, man, you know, he turned down some money last year to come back, and we just feel that we owe it to him to give him our absolute best. You know, joining him as far as starters would be Dylan Suppan, who's been a really pleasant surprise out of California. Adam Paulson, a transfer in from LC State, and of course Ross Clevenger returns, and Ross with that electric arm, he's that one guy that can go out there where if he gets the first 6-7 outs, you start to think about no hitter. He's got that type of stuff. So those 4 guys will probably lead us as far as starters.
Then one of the key guys last year was Blake coming out of the bullpen for you guys, moved from that starter role to being a little bit of everything out of the pen. Do you have that guy that's going to be dynamic out of the pen this year?
I hate to use cliches, the bullpen by committee. I think that the game of baseball is evolving into this matchup thing, not so much, okay, this is your role and you're going to do this every time. There's so many different situations and scenarios in a baseball game that require different matchups for you to be the most successful you can be. So I think it's going to be that, and when you're dealing with young people, there tends to be some roller coaster emotional stuff going on, so you kind of have to play your hot hand at times. I see Siegel, I see Baker, Patterson. Nick Bland has really come on here lately, and he may be a guy that we go to there at the end. So yeah, we got 4 or 5 options there, which is a good thing. What was kind of our Achilles heel, we felt coming in this year with the pitching, might end up being our strength.
Good.
Yeah, these guys have really improved.
That's a good thing. Nice to see them rise to the challenge.
Yeah, really.
I know last year you guys had a set rotation, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then after the first weekend it changed. Do you think there's a possibility that might happen again this year?
Oh, definitely. I've never been one for just sticking with a plan all the way through. Man, you have to adjust. The game of baseball is so much about adjustments, and you don't only adjust according to your opponent, but where your guys are. One guy may need an extra day rest here and there. One guy may match up against another team better or whatever. There's just so many different variables, and our guys, we hope that they're ready to go in at any time, any place, and you try to develop that instead of everything have to be in concrete all the time. I just don't think that's an effective way to go about managing a ball club, is to have everything the same all the time. You have to have people ready to step into different roles.
Talk about the league. You guys picked to be #1 this year. Obviously a nice compliment after last season. Do you guys finish there, or do you think about that beyond who you play first in the league race?
All the above. I'll let you in on a little secret. Every team in the conference wants to win first place. We can all talk real nice to each other, and I hope that's the case, but we all want to win the league, and so that's definitely the case. But how do you go about that? That's the key. The one game at a time. You really, we're going down to LA, and of course, before the season started, everybody was thinking about Cal Baptist, and then all of a sudden Cal State LA steps up and sweeps Cal Baptist last week, and it's just a crazy game. And if you get too far ahead of yourself, man, you lose your focus of where you should be. And so right now, us facing all those nerves and stuff Thursday, I think we're just kind of trying to deal with that, and then after that game we'll deal with Friday's game and kind of approach it like that.
So not talking too much about who's going to win or not, who are the top contenders you think in the conference?
Last year the difference between first and fourth place was 1 game, or close to that anyway. Wow. I wouldn't be surprised if there's not anybody in our league that could beat anybody on any given day. I'm rooting for the Crusaders, but a lot of tough opponents, and I'm not ready to give any bulletin board material out right now in this interview.
Okay. What is a good season for you guys? Do you have to make it back to the tournament? Do you have to win it all? Do you have to take that next step and make it to nationals?
Our guys, they're getting to the regional, getting to the national tournament. That's I think a realistic goal for this group. And once you make it there, then it's anybody's ball game. And I've been fortunate enough to be involved in some national tournaments, and it's not always the teams with the most talent that make it. It's the teams that peak at the right time. It's the teams that are close, that play together. So, you know, man, a lot of balls in the air right now, and hopefully we can just keep juggling them, not drop them until the end of the season. So right now, yeah, I would say that we're shooting to make the national tournament.
Well, I appreciate it, Coach. I want to remind fans the Crusaders be down in California. We'll have live stats from the games down there. And opening weekend, second week of March. So hopefully the field will be sunny and dry by that time, a month from now. And you guys come out and cheer on your Crusaders as they pursue another GNAC championship.
Thank you.